Henry, Walter, come on.
We actually pulled up at Kenny's house for the debut, for my debut of actually seeing brown bear for the last 3 or 4 months. When this truck came in, Daniel looked at it, Brian looked at it, I looked at it, and it was a great start. And said, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get over to Kenny's. Order the parts, get everything we need, let's roll on it. And Kenny's been battling with some stuff back and forth with some health issues, and so hadn't been rolling as normal, but a lot has taken place. I've gotten some teaser pictures. I think Brian has seen it. I know Daniel has seen it. And so far everybody has said this is the one, JW. This is the truck. The colors, the quality, the build process. And of course it should be, because every step of the way it has been nothing but premium, perfection, spend the money, do it right, even from the get-go. So let's check it out. All right, literally just walked in here. You guys are seeing the first experience of seeing it in this finished form, but I'm also seeing Kenny's garage mahal here.
The new doctor's office.
Yeah, he calls it the doctor's office. The floors are spotless. I love this color floor. It's what we did in a lot of our buildings. He's got the AC running. It's insulated well because he just moved 3 things out of here to put this in for this video and for us to debut it. And when you open that big door, it loses most of it, and it's cooled off again in here right quickly. So that worked out pretty good. This truck right here, just to start off, so this truck was a truck that was being built by a guy, Kenny, you've talked to him. How long ago did he start this project?
So first off, we need to give the proper credit to Trent Durth out of Kingston, Ohio. He pretty much did the majority of this build 10 years ago.
That's what I was thinking. It was about 10 years, yeah.
So, you know, when JW got it, everything that you're getting ready to see when he turns this camera on the outside was like that when he got it. There was a couple pieces of chrome that had to be put on and a couple real small details we'll go over when we go around it. But for the most part, the whole exterior, underside, hood, engine bay, basically everything other than the interior, all credit goes to Trent. But yeah,
and a nice guy. I spoke to him.
Super nice guy. I just talked to him a few minutes ago. I told him to be prepared for the fame he's getting ready to get. I wanted to first off give him the credit because when y'all see this truck and people see this truck in person, you know, I've been around these things for a long, long time. I've seen lots of nice ones and all, but this by far is the nicest and most well put together. I'll just say it's pretty much kind of my style, especially when you see the engine bay. It's OE with a little twist, but for the most part, this is probably the only build I've ever went behind somebody else and not said what in the you know what to just about everything I look at.
And that's where I led into this outside a little bit, and a couple of times where we've mentioned this truck. And matter of fact, the fellow that he's referring to is not who I got the truck from. The truck had changed hands, and the cool part about the way the truck changed hands was the guy that I rebought it from was the guy that sourced it for Trent originally. He wanted a very specific truck, very rust-free truck. The truck had a camper in the back of his whole life.
Yeah, he said it had a camper in it its whole life. It came out of Colorado. It's got 46,000 original miles.
Yep. So that was pretty cool. So I did not get it from him. He saw it in the background of a video. Daniel said, "Don't put it in a video." Brian said, "You need to finish this one. Don't even give it a chance as a project." In light and non-light terms, just because the interior was the part that needed to be done, it still was a task. And I think that's part of the reason he got to a good stopping point was you ran out of parts and pieces. Some things you can't get. And if you have to source them, you got to source one at a time. You might need 4.
It was also 10 years ago where some of these companies that are making a lot of the stuff for the round headlight, trucks basically that you couldn't get 10 years ago. And that was one of the reasons why he kind of quit where he was at because he did not believe that he was going to be able to find the level of quality that this deserved after what you're going to see, and you'll understand that. But luckily, you know, we've got sources now for, you know, most all that stuff.
And internally sourced a few things like those headlight doors. So
yeah, and there was a couple of things on the outside that still to this day you cannot buy correct, even made out of the proper material. But luckily, he had a couple super low miles, super clean, that we were able to get a grill and headlight doors, the correct and metal headlight doors. As everybody knows, the replacements are plastic and don't fit worth a crap. So we were able to get past that, and that was one of, or pretty much the only thing on the outside that I was not good with. So we were able to get past that, and now, you know, we're good.
So let's go ahead, spin around, AJ.
Drum roll. Get ready, get ready. Boom.
Take that in for a minute, guys.
Yeah, it's going to take a minute.
That color combination, the fit and finish is unbelievable. And I'll lead in a couple things, and I'm going to turn it over to Kenny before I get a phone call or get disrupted. So we got one more level to go with this truck. Now that Kenny has done his part, it's going to Brian and Daniel. It's going to get the steps. It's going to get the steering. It's going to get the track bar. And we're extremely happy to have Mickey Thompson on board to supply the tire and wheel that's going to go on this truck. Now, what it's got is super duper cool, but it's going to get a set of replica wheels that look like these, the Canyons, and it's going to get a set of Mickey Thompson MTZs, I believe, is what we have in store for it. So you will be seeing a lot more with Mickey Thompson, but I told him, I said, look, we're going to start off with a bang. We're going to start off with the nicest 3+3, possibly on the planet, restored the way it's been restored to as much form and function and properness. Daniel wanted to go 10-door, Grimace, red truck, Davis 2.0. Like, there was no question. As soon as he saw it, 2.0 package. I said, I had to reel him back, and I never, ever have reeled him back on a project before. And even Kenny kind of stepped in a little bit and said, you know, this truck, you need to be able to see under the hood. You need to be able to see inside of it.
Yeah.
You got to be able to walk around this truck. At 5'10", you're going to be able to see under the hood and appreciate it. But at 5'10" and Davis 2.0, you got to have a step stool. So we reeled it back. It's going to be this size, but it's going to have the steering. It's going to have the track bar. It's going to have the power steps. It's going to have Mickey Thompson's debut of that wheel and tire. And go ahead. I know you're excited. Carry it away.
All right. Well, I'll start with the outside since that's where we're at right now. Start with the engine bay. So this truck was actually originally a small block truck. The two options for this particular truck was a 350 and a 400 small block. Trent told me he believes it was a 350 originally. We now have a board and stroke 454, which is a 496. And as you can see, other than the aluminum intake and the Holley carburetor and the serpentine belt drive, it is pretty much just like any stock big block would be. The rest of the engine bay is 100% OE, just like it was when it was new. All the wiring, jack, all the lug wrench and all that stuff. I did make some custom AC hoses because as all you Squarebody guys know, this truck, the AC compressor was originally on that other side before they put the serpentine drive on there. So I made these hoses here, right here in house, to get all that stuff working, which works like a champ. As far as the outside, it's pretty much was like this when he got it. We did have to install a couple of pieces of the chrome trim that wasn't on there, but that wasn't a big deal. That's pretty much it on the outside. Before I open the door, I'm gonna give you a little backstory on what we went through just in the last month, and also give another shout out. As most everybody also knows, it's not impossible, as you're going to see, but it's very hard to find someone that's willing to do the work to find the original materials for basically any vehicle. So we know where to get it from, but obviously I'm not an upholsterer, so it doesn't do me any good. But we were basically down to the seats, and we did not want to go any other route other than original, just because that's what it needs to be.
And it had good seats. It was a toss up.
Now the back seat was still good.
It was very, very.
And I still have the cover, and we'll repurpose that one day. Yeah. But the front seat had a couple of rips in it,
which would have gotten worse.
They weren't bad, but they're starting to come. What do you call it when it's like
unraveling?
Like unraveling, yeah. So anyway,
it would have gotten worse quick, and we really struggled from day one. The seats were in the back. The truck was loaded with boxes and trim and old takeoff, which is what Kenny knew right away. He said, this guy was my kind of guy. Like baggies were labeled with door,
every
trim.
Part labeled.
So we have enough stuff to build a whole nother truck with factory takeoff old parts.
Yep.
Which will come in very handy. So guys, if you're ever doing a project, don't throw that stuff away. Put it in a box. You may need it one day. It came in handy a few times here. As our boneyard trucks out in the yard here too come in handy. You would be surprised. One little thing will hold you up, and if you bypass it, you're gonna screw yourself.
Especially if it's something that you can't, you can buy it, but it's aftermarket and it doesn't fit correctly.
Right.
So a lot of times it's worth the time to take the original one, do what you need to do to restore it, to reuse it, rather than have to put some inferior fitting garbage on there. But anyway, so we got down to the seat deal. I reached out to a couple of people, didn't really have a whole lot of luck, and reached out to our local guy, Freddie Stell at Stingray's Upholstery, right in Prince George. Shot him a video, told him what we were doing. He told me that he could get the material, and fast forward, it took about 4 or 5 weeks, but the material had to be made. But this is what we ended up with. Yeah, I still got the plastic wrapper on the trim and all, just because I didn't want anything to happen until whatever happens once it leaves here, but I didn't want to take no chances. So
you even bottled up the smell. How did you get the smell bottled up in there?
Well, I can't reveal all my secrets. There's certain things. What goes on in the doctor's office stays in the doctor's office. That is the original headliner. Now, all the white trim around it has been freshened up. These are the original rear door panels. You cannot buy these nowhere. I've even reached out to some of these big 3D printer guys to see if I could send them one and have them 3D printed. And so far, I've not found anybody that has one big enough. But hopefully one day somebody will come through and that won't be an issue. But these are even the original armrests. New carpet, new lower door carpet, new sill plates, the elusive mini sill plate.
Thanks to
that
Daniel
I think ended up, we had to spend about $400 to get these cute little things right here. But without them, I mean, fresh seat belts. Straight from Seatbelt Planet. Front, we got, of course, brand new door panels. Everything is new from the door lock pulls down. Panels, trim, inside handle, pull straps, armrest base, bags, everything is new here. New dash, the trim in the dash, all the vent outlets, the steering wheel, floor mats, Rear view mirror. And we did a retro, brand new, off-white is the proper name. Brand new visors. We did a retro radio that's Bluetooth. It's even got a USB. You can charge your phone or whatever. We have a center speaker. These do not have dash speakers, as you know. So we've got the center speaker that is actually a 4x10 with dual voice coils. So we've got sound in the front, and then back here, behind this fresh seat, we've got the brand new package tray with some 6x9s in the corner with some kind of old school looking grills.
Doesn't stand out, but it does what it's supposed to do. Even look at this. Look at the seat belts back here coming through the seat.
You got the little ribbed for your pleasure seatbelt covers. Another contribution from Rusty. The rear floor mat, which technically this is not really correct for this truck. I think it had a couple of small mini ones that went here, but I took this out of Rusty, dyed it front and back to match to give it a floor mat. It can be for your pleasure, you know, if you want. I think that's probably about it.
So Kenny did wire.
I did do the LED dome light, and the light under the dash is also LED.
So while it was apart, he wired it to be prepared for the power steps.
Yeah, we got the pin switches right here, and I got wires run up the carpet inside so they can put the power steps on. We did do the also, which I do to pretty much all of them. When I put the bulbs in for the instrument cluster, I paint the housing white and then put LED bulbs in. And at nighttime, it's like a modern car when you cut it on with that fresh gauges and fresh bezel and all that. When you cut the lights on
through here
at nighttime, you know, it's like a modern car. So these little nuts right here, little acorn trim nuts. The nuts that came with the trim were just regular old 1024 5/16 headed regular old hex nuts, and couldn't do that. So I found these through Classic Industries, the correct acorn nuts. So all the trim has got those where they're supposed to be. It's all the little touches like that kind of sets trucks like this apart.
Look under the fender well.
I mean, this thing, when Trent did this thing and did the underside and the paint, you know, most vehicles get a satin or a matte on the frame and the inner fender wells and all that, just because most people don't get things perfect like they need to be when you can put gloss black. This truck has gloss black on the bottom of the floor pans, the frame. If we had it on a lift, basically the bottom side looks just like the top side. Gloss black everywhere, just like these inner fender wells.
Which is what we were looking at first look when it rolled up on the transport truck, because it was up in the air.
It was in the air.
And
so
that's when
we're standing at eye level with the frame.
You really see the imperfections at that point. You really can pick a truck apart and just
stainless steel brake lines. Obviously, it's got to go to the exhaust shop next to get some exhaust run on it, but it's got some nice ceramic coated shorty headers on it.
Which we forgot because we plan on driving it back to the car lot today.
Yeah. So y'all actually, Trent, you might be able to hear him once he hits the road with this thing. You might be actually hearing him from Ohio. Because it's
loud.
It's pretty loud just idling. I'm sure going down the road it's going to be something. But we also added the hood insulation. That wasn't on there when we got the truck, so I added that.
Let's talk about the shroud too. That's
what's that?
The shroud that goes behind the hood.
The shroud.
Oh, he's talking about
You're talking about this?
Yes.
The plastic piece right here? Yeah, it's got the this is the little cowl grate, I guess you'd call it, that basically, all your
Keep stuff from falling down in that little pocket area.
pine tags and leaves and crap from falling down in the cowl, because all your fresh air that that's your blower motor is sourcing is coming through that. We looked at them the last time you were here, and they were a little crusty and all, and got them swapped out. That was actually like our project, believe it or not.
Yeah.
By the time I got them out, and
one of the other things that was done, like your heater box here, it's clear coated, so it's usually all dingy and
black. Usually it's been spray painted, and it's actually, that's what the fiberglass looks like. It's actually like a kind of a brownish color, with all the correct decal on it. Aside from it not being the correct engine, I mean, look at the fuel line coming out of the fuel pump going to the carburetor. Nice stainless, pre-bent, nice and neat. So the things that are not correct or OE are done in an OE fashion. One little detail that I didn't even catch for the longest time was we had a 3+3 badge on the driver's side, and then it had a piece like this on this side. So I was able to find in the box of parts another badge, and I taped this thing off and basically stripped all the paint off of it and taped this off and sprayed that, so we would have a 3+3 badge on both sides. We went back and forth on that. I kind of liked the regular trim. JW liked the 3+3. So
it was kind of more the
3+3.
Part of that was, and I let Daniel have a piece of that decision too, but we remember that because my dad had a 3+3, and nobody really even understood what a 3+3 was. It's a crew cab. We didn't see crew cabs very often, but Dad had a crew cab, square body, dually. And right about the time I was driving age, so I would drive it, sometimes pulling stuff around. But 3+3, you can't Google it and figure it out, but best we know is 3 people in the front, 3 people in the back.
Yep.
So it's served for the crew. Dad teased that it was 3 wheels on one side, 3 wheels on the other, because his truck was a dually. But you could have run the trim, and it did look good. He sent me pictures both ways. I looked at them. I sent them to Daniel, looked at them. We both agreed, 3+3 is kind of a slang term that some people wouldn't understand if they didn't see it. Like, oh, that's what they mean, 3+3, because most people just call this a crew cab now. When I was coming up, crew cabs were rare. Like, you didn't see a crew cab. So it was a crew cab truck. It was a 3+3 truck, which was pretty cool. And then, of course, we remember Dad saying that. So that was a good decision. I guess you could have got them both ways, or did we ever determine that? Because the piece of trim that would go here would also be for a regular cab pickup truck.
Right.
So don't know that this was an option or not an option.
I don't know that I've seen one that didn't have 3+3 on it. I think they all had the 3+3 on there.
I did a little looking and Googling.
But since all this is aftermarket, they probably offered it with the small piece,
sure.
Or like you said, obviously it could also be for a regular cab truck. That wouldn't be specific to this, but.
Well, it was a very well preserved truck, and like I said, the having the camper in the bed, you can still see that's a tenth of what was in there. But
a lot of the original trim is still in this tube right here, and some other parts we're taking off. Now, we don't have the original bumper, so before everybody makes comments about the bumper not being OE, it's not OE, I'll tell you that now. But it is a nice, fresh step bumper. Finding the original bumpers for these that are in good enough shape to put on a truck like this is just impossible. You're not going to find. And as far as, having one chromed, finding the original style that's steel and then having it chromed, the prices these days on that is gone
And
crazy.
time.
Crazy.
Yeah, Daniel just got a chromed
Yeah.
bumper back for a truck.
He just told me.
3 or 4 months of
Yeah,
wait.
$2,000
Yep.
to
and chroming.
to chrome a front bumper. So,
Yep.
you know, you got to get to a point where you got to kind of say enough's enough. And JW was probably like that with me multiple times already. So I can't keep pushing it.
Did you look
now one thing about this truck that I kind of thought about later on and still not really 100% sure is this is a Silverado, but it does not have a stainless tailgate band. So I'm not sure if for some reason this truck didn't have one,
well,
or
is that
if it just was not worthy, which is very possible. And rather than put something unworthy, and obviously all of these have the Chevrolet, embossed part, whether
Correct.
it's got the trim or not. So I'm assuming
it could also be a 3+3 thing. Everything we look at is a single cab and short bed most of the time, or a single cab long bed, short bed. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, 3+2 doesn't have it.
The one from yesterday. Yeah, but that's a more base model. The brown truck we did a
But that's an 81 up though.
The white and red one didn't have it.
white and red one doesn't, but it did. Well, that tailgate did because it has the preferences.
Got the
in
holes
it.
in it.
Yeah, and even
Yeah.
when the holes have been filled, you usually see a dimple. I mean,
Yeah.
you'd have to be hella good at body work.
Not to
hide that.
mention, there's no holes in the tailgate.
Nope.
Yeah, they are
No, they're filled. Yep.
welded up.
So somebody did do hella body work to fill those other divots.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, when I talked to Trent a little while ago, he asked, if we had done a bed liner yet, and I told him no, I wasn't sure on the status of that part.
Yeah,
yet.
I think we're gonna do a spraying. You guys know, you're hit or miss with whether you like it or not. You can see here how nice this all is too. But our man does such a good job on this one. He would back tape it right here. He'd hit the line right here. He'd keep it under the rail right here. And
I'm thinking do the floor and this and leave that.
That's a way to do it.
Nice.
That's a way to do it too. That's
You know.
different. And we had one not long ago that was that
I
way.
mean, for a truck like this, it's not going to get nothing going
Used,
to be put
yeah.
in the back, and it's got nice paint. It'd be
maybe a nice 250R or 350.
yeah, that could sit in there, but that's
yeah.
enough room to where the tires ain't gonna hit the wheel wells. And
Or we might have to find a brown. What color ATV came brown?
I don't know, but
We'll find one.
I got some
Yeah.
paint.
Yeah, Husqvarna. Yep.
So, well, we just answered that question. So obviously this did have a tailgate band on it at some time, and I would assume that most likely he realized he could not buy one that was
And you can't. We went through that the other day.
worthy. Now, the truck that I got the headlight bezels and grill off of, that would be that would be worthy for sure. Probably the nicest one I've ever seen in person.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate with the browns and the tans and we've got a
brown's been a hot thing here lately.
This has got its twin brother, the regular cab short bed truck that is very, very, very nice in comparison, but a half-ton version. We've been very fortunate with some nice rides, but this one, everybody that's looked at it, everybody that stopped by, even the people that Kenny doesn't know that have stopped by that saw this, that have reported back to me, said that's the truck. Like, it is the truck. And of course, being a crew cab is even that much more fun. But the history, the background, the stuff that had already been done, because did he say how long he worked on it?
No, I didn't ask him how long. He just told me that it had been painted for 10 years.
Right.
So
a project like this from start to finish, the part that Kenny's done, the part we're getting ready to do, and then the part that he's done, it's a 5-year project probably. And I don't know that. I know I talked to him early on, and then I kind of turned him over to Kenny. I was like, you got questions? Ask this man. He was great. He reached out. He's like, Jeb, you got a truck that I'm positive was my old truck. And I was like, came from here? He's like, yep, that's the truck. He said, I'm glad you guys got it. I know you guys had the potential to finish it. He got to a stopping point, and, again, I don't know what all took place, but he was, it was just sitting. And then the guy that I got it from wanted to finish it. He's like, Jeb, I know this truck is the truck. Like, I know it is. I bought it sight unseen, just like all these trucks. I got a few pictures in the corner of a building, and, he assured me it was the right truck. And, of course, when it showed up, it was. So he's another watcher of the channel, too. So kudos there. on a good description, because that doesn't happen very often. Most everybody thinks they have this in their garage, and they don't. Matter of fact, there's not many of these on anybody's garage out there because
Of this caliber.
of this caliber.
Yeah,
You know, it's
very few.
it was a good specimen to start with. It was carried to the next level, then carried to the next level, then ended up somehow in the doctor's office for its final surgery. And we were going to take it home right now, but we're not going to be able to do that because it's a holiday weekend.
Somebody had memory failure.
Yeah, we passed a couple state troopers on the way here that probably would not appreciate it. And I'm probably going to have to be on the phone most of the way home, so that's not going to work out.
And you're not going to hear.
You're not going to be able to hear on the phone, so we're going to change that plan a little bit. But it's going to hit exhaust. It's going to hit Daniel. And then it's probably going to have to hit Daniel and then hit exhaust, because if we have to take it to the show without exhaust, that'll just be the way it has to go. But great job, Kenny. Yeah, as always. You killed it. And the attention to detail, the camera's not going to give it to you. The video's not going to give it to you. Hopefully some of you guys are going to see this truck in person and be able to really appreciate it. You know, it's just a good example of a lot of trucks come in that are really, really, really nice. And this one was, you know, started off really the right way, and the guy didn't rush. You know, he did not. And we almost got to the point of rushing. We almost did one seat, not both. We almost didn't do the seats at all.
No. Let me correct that.
I almost wanted to.
Yeah.
Kenny
we're never considering doing one seat. Let me just put that out there. So,
in the seats,
somebody else might have had that idea, but not me.
The seats seem to be a light conversation to a lot of people, because they figure, I'll just drop it off. Upholstery guy takes care of it. But the little buttons, having the seams proper and the stitching proper.
Oh, that's another thing I didn't mention about the seats. So when I did put the seats back in the truck thinking we were going to have to keep the original ones in there, I realized that, and I can't remember if it was the front seat or the back seat, but the seams from the front seat, you know, line up with the seams on the back, on the bottom of the seat. Well, whichever one it was, they were off by over an inch, and that was OE. That was factory. It was off so bad, I thought somebody had the seat out and dropped it on the end and bent the metal arms that the back seat bolts to the bottom seat on. I thought it was bent, and I took it apart and realized it wasn't, and realized there was no way that it could be bent just because of the way that the tilt mechanism works. So that was original, and when I picked the seats up, Freddie told me, look, I got the seams perfectly straight, and he agreed that he's seen them in the past as well, original from the factory, not lined up. But, you know, not lined up's one thing, but over an inch was extreme. But, you know, that's quality control in 1979. We didn't always put out perfection every time. We just put out whatever we put out, and that's just
whatever
what it was.
Could get done. Yeah, good enough was
you
good
just
enough.
had to like it, and that was it.
Well, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this one. We've been talking about Brown Bear. Here's Brown Bear in the flesh and blood. Can't really ask for it to be more of a truck than it is. And with the exhaust on it, the little finishing touches, the stuff Daniel and Brian are getting
Wheels
ready
and
to do.
tires are going to really make a big difference.
Wheels and tires will make a big difference, but that setup that's on here is...
I'm not factory, I'm sorry. But these are original vintage 16.5 slots.
Yep.
I mean...
Oh, they will be... Daniel will have them under a blanket somewhere. Like, those wheels are to not be had. Like, you can't get those.
Yeah, and those are just a conversation piece. Hang them up on the wall or something.
And the Mickey Thompson replica is very similar, but in a polished finish. And for you guys that know what you're looking at, it even has a shank lug nut, which you can't even get. And it has 35, 1250, 16.5 old school BF Goodriches that still have the nubs on them. You haven't been able to get these
brand new.
Maybe 10 years.
Probably 10 years old.
Yeah, they have been gone for a long time. So it was built to be finished 10 years ago. And, you know, the right parts were bought. Thankfully, some parts were bought then that you can't get now. And then we were able to rebirth the other things. But just like, that's metal.
That's metal, that's
and
right.
You can see the lines here. And even my own personal 74 Chevrolet with the same similar front end, this is all overlapped and goofy. And it's as good as it can get. but it's because I have all aftermarket parts on the front of it, and you can't get any better. That is a factory grille and a factory set of headlight doors. It's impeccable.
These two pieces are factory. You cannot buy these two upper pieces for some reason. So I polished them, taped them off, painted the black in the middle. This lower piece here I was able to buy brand new. So that's brand new, and it fit nice and was acceptable. So I went ahead and went with that. Back to that 10-year thing we're talking about, you know, for it to have been painted for 10 years, then there's a good chance that this could have been started on 12, 15 years ago, because to get it to the point where it was ready to get painted, everybody knows what's involved in that, and especially something this big. So, you know, I'm not really positive exactly how long, but, you know, obviously if it was painted for 10 years, then, you know, obviously he started on it before that. So it might be a 12 to 15 year, you know, deal, but here we are.
Well, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for sticking around. Yeah, you can see when we talk about saving pieces and parts, now he's got a good spot to keep them. DAS up there. That
I got all kind of square body stuff up there.
Yeah. We're
keep it nice and cool. I got the AC blowing right on it just to keep everything nice and comfortable.
That's good. That's good. Might give me a little cot and hang out up there sometimes. 61 degrees, and sleeveless shirt's a little chilly right now. So thanks guys for watching. Hope you have a happy and safe 4th of July. This video should post today. In case it does not, still have a happy, safe 4th of July. We'll get the video loaded. This truck, unfortunately, is not for sale. Probably will not be for sale unless something more miraculous comes along. This was a build to hold around, to show, case, a lot of different things, and more things to come than what we're just getting ready to put on it. But it will hit some events. It will hit some shows. It will be driven, even though it should stay in a bubble. And you guys, chances are you'll be able to see it around the showroom and the shop some, but we'll probably keep it off-site in one of our heated, cooled storage areas that obviously look very similar to this, which is what I love about the way Kenny did this. But what a great truck. For you guys that are looking to restore one, redo something, scroll through this video, stop it, pause it, check it, because it's fitted the right way with the right stuff.